Tarnowski. I'm from the Faculty of International Relations, also study here. And Mr. Ambassador, I have a question for you. What are the concrete initiatives of NATO in specifically and more effectively solving the Transnistrian conflict that we have already for 21 years? And if there are any, of course, of NATO, and of course, despite the fact that the Arab tensions in the world. Thank you.
We'll take 3 questions and that Ambassador will answer them. Please, second one. One more question.
Don't be shy. No?
Yeah, I do have a question.
Okay.
It's not advisable for moderators, but my question is, just now NATO is a kind of security umbrella for European Union also. What are the correlations between NATO developments and developments of European security and foreign policy agenda, joint European security policy? What kind of correlations? Should European Union probably develop more its capabilities, including investing more in defense?
I start with that one. It will get me to the other one as well. The situation between NATO and the European Union, we sit in the same city. We sit in Brussels. There are 5 kilometers between ourselves. When we work in a Pacific operation like Kosovo, like Afghanistan, the cooperation is actually working quite well. When it comes to the political level, and that I mean the Council of NATO, the NATO Council, the Political Committee of the European Union, it's a little bit more complex. We can meet in a formal framework only when we discuss what is called Berlin Plus, and there's only one Berlin Plus operation where the EU uses NATO means, and that is the operation in Bosnia. Apart from that, we cannot have formal meetings between NATO and the EU. Formal meetings in that case means all member states, except on the EU side, Cyprus. So with this I indicate where the issue is. There is an unresolved issue called, which is related to Cyprus. We have Turkey as a member state of NATO. Cyprus is a member state of the European Union. And I think it's fair to say that more progress in this area will be achievable, but a quantum leap will probably be only possible when we have a solution to the Cyprus issue. So the correlation is strong, it could be stronger, but then on the other hand, it's also fair to say the European Union is a, how should I put it, is a different animal, because the European Union is covering many aspects, whether it's consumer points, the currency issues, whether it's competition, whether it's telecommunications, trade, where the European Union has effectively the competence to negotiate on behalf of member states, whether it's the interior justice, and I could go on. NATO is basically relating to security and defense policy issues. So we do have a different set of tasks, and on that basis we do have some kind of division of labor. But again, in the field, in a particular operational situation, our cooperation is quite good. And that is also true, I mentioned the maritime operation of the Horn of Africa. There are ships sailing under the NATO flag, and there are ships sailing under the flag of the European Union. They work very closely together. And it would be a surprise if it wouldn't be that way, because out of the 28 member states of NATO, 21 are also member states of the European Union. So the European Union, and now I come to the other question, the European Union is an active player in the framework of 5+2 on Transnistria. NATO is not, and I said that in my introduction. So NATO is not a direct player there. That doesn't mean that we have no interest in it. And there are different reasons. One, it is the security situation in this area, and solving the Transnistria situation would certainly give a boost to the security situation in this area. Secondly, that would be my hope, and this is a bit speculation if you like, but you know, there are some others of those what we call the frozen conflicts. And I think some of them have been around for a long time. So solving one of those could have a positive impact on the others. And thirdly, and this is the indirect relationship, if you like, to NATO, we have in NATO debates, and we have debates with the Russians and others in Vienna in the framework of 36 nations on whether and if how we could revitalize the CFE, conventional forces in Europe, arms control. And there's a relationship with the Transnistria situation. You remember the Istanbul commitments, there are some questions related to that, some disputes related to that. But not only to that, there's the key word of host nation consent, which does refer to the situation in Transnistria, but even more importantly as a debate vis-a-vis the situation in Georgia, where the Russians would say that there is host nation consent, whereas the NATO member states would say that they don't recognize those two entities. So there are a lot of open issues related to conventional forces in Europe, and part of it is related to the situation in Transnistria. So we have an interest in there being progress on that front. We are not a direct player in it. I will only add to it from time to time in meetings with colleagues from other countries. As a NATO official, I would express our interest in there being progress on that front, but we are not engaging in the details of it.